Hi kids, in this video I'm going to be going over the converting moles and mass assignment from Khan Academy that I just assigned. I think I put it on Google Classroom yesterday and it's going to be due this upcoming Monday, so you have a week to still work on it, but I wanted to make sure that you had enough time to really process this and understand it. So this is all about converting moles and mass, which is actually what we started doing right before excuse me, right before the school closure actually started. So yeah, you should actually have some familiarity with this. We worked on it in the molar mass practice problems packet. This is just review and also like reinforcing the concepts that we've already learned. So I'm gonna open it up here. And I'm going to open up the calculator because it says here you might need a calculator. So you can click the little show calculator button at the bottom. You definitely want to have a calculator. We have to do some calculations here. So that's going to be crucial. And it's ones that I cannot do in my head. If you guys can do it in your head, that's great. So we are given the molecular weight of water, which is H2O, and that tells us that it's 18.02 grams per mole. Molecular weight is the exact same as molar mass, which is what we were practicing finding using the periodic table right before we left. So remember how we find that is you basically just look at what the molecule is. In this case, it's H2O. You find the molar masses for the different elements that are in that molecule and kind of add them all together. So in this case, we have two H's and one O. So what they did to find this was just look at the periodic table, find the molar mass for H, multiply that by 2 since there's two H's, and then add the molar mass of O, which is oxygen, and they got to 18.02 grams per mole. So you actually would be able to do this part on your own, but I'm not expecting you all to have periodic tables with you or have access to them, so that's why they are given in these problems. And that's a more foundational skill that I think we get and are kind of able to move past. Okay, so the question then asks, how many moles of water are in 24.3 grams of water? And express the answer using 3 significant figures. Remember significant figures, those are sig figs. That's what we did as part of the extension for the Intro to Unit 5 self-guided practice problems back when I was in Spain and you guys were working on stuff independently. That was one of the extension pieces. This to me is not super crucial, is understanding how to do significant figures. So I do not assess based on it. However, in the Khan Academy, you might be rounding a way that they are not rounding, and you might get the answer wrong just because you rounded it differently. But in my class, like if the answer is 24.5 and you put 25 as your answer, I mean, that's not ideal, but I would accept it as long as you showed work and showed me how you got that as your answer. And I knew that you were just rounding at the end, right? Okay, so we have our 4 steps that we always use for any type of conversion factor problem. How do I know that I need to convert here? Because that's the name of the freaking thing, right? It's called converting moles and mass. So I know that I'm doing a conversion problem. So I'm going to need to use my conversion steps. It's these 4 steps right here. If you do not have these written down somewhere, please write them down. You should have them written, blasted all over you. I think I told you guys at one point to get this tattooed on yourself. I stand by that. But if you want to just write it down, that works too. There's 4 steps. They're pretty straightforward, pretty basic, and you can use them for every single conversion problem. In my class, in math, whatever. In life, I actually do convert stuff all the time, and I use this, okay? First step is going to be to determine what our given is, our given value, what they give us in the problem, and then what our desired ending unit is, right? What we are trying to figure out, what the question's asking us. Then we want to draw our map using the conversion factor, which basically is like, how do we get from our given and go to our desired? A lot of students, once you feel more proficient in doing these conversion factors, a lot of students like to skip this step. If you are uncomfortable at all with doing conversion factor problems, do not skip this step. It's really helpful in figuring out what exactly you're doing in the problem. The third step is to put your given over 1. This is everyone's favorite step because it's the easiest one. You just write your given value and you put it over 1. And then last step, convert using the conversion factor, which is always going to be in the form of desired over given, right? Desired on top and then given on the bottom. Desired value or desired unit and given unit, okay? So I'm going to start working through this. We're going to start with our first step and we will solve this first problem together. And it looks like there's 4 questions in here that you should be able to work through after I go through this one. So I'm going to grab my pen. Oops. I'm going to actually probably scoot this over just so that I can have my instructions up on the board, not on the board, on the screen at the same time that I'm working on this. Okay, so same problem. Let me get the calculator back out. Oops, there we go. Okay, so in this problem, the actual question is the one with the question mark, right? This is just some background information. So the question that we're being asked is how many, well, let me highlight the whole thing. How many moles of water are in 24.3 grams of water? So we're converting from grams of water. We're given an amount of grams of water, and we're trying to figure out how many moles of water that is, right? So I'm going to immediately start with step 1, determining my given value and my desired unit. So I like to just kind of like underline the given 24.3 grams of water. And I'm going to mark that with a G for given. Does that look like an arrow or does that look like a G? It kind of looks like an arrow. Hold on. G. That looks like a better G. Maybe I'll just write out the whole word. Given. It's really hard to write using the mouse pad. And then I usually like to put a box around what my desired unit is. So what I'm trying to figure out, I'm given 24.3 grams of water. What I'm trying to figure out is how many moles that is. So this is my desired. And I'm telling you guys, we are going to be doing these types of problems for quite some time. So the faster we get comfortable doing these steps, the better. So we're done with step 1. I think for a lot of students, that is also a very doable step that you all feel comfortable with. But yeah, here it is. We've done it. We know what our given is, 24.3 grams of water. We know what we want to end with, which is moles of water. Step 2, drawing out that map. And this is where we figure out what's the conversion factor that we're going to end up using. How am I going to get from my given to my desired? What's the unit that links those two things together? Okay, so given we know is 24.3 grams, and our desired that we want to end with is moles. And remember, you can abbreviate moles with MOL, which I know is not like the greatest abbreviation ever. You're really not shortening it by that much. But if you write M, you're writing meters. And I do not want to see you write M when you mean moles. They're not the same thing. So 24.3 grams, and we are converting into moles, right? Now we need to figure out what is the unit that connects grams and moles. What type of unit is it that has both grams and moles somewhere in it? Do we see that anywhere on here? Something that has grams and moles in it. Oh, wait, I do. Look at this. Look at this little conversion factor that I can use right here. This has grams in it and it has moles in it. It relates grams to moles for this same substance, right? For water. So that's going to be what I'm going to end up using as a conversion factor. So what this means is 18.02 grams per mole. What that means is there are 18.02 grams of water in 1 mole of water, right? Let me move the calculator. That's our equality statement, right? Our conversion factor that connects grams of water to moles of water. I don't think I can write this that much smaller, and I can't move it either. So just imagine I wrote that over the arrow, right? Okay. So now it's time to do our last couple steps, which is where we actually set up the math and solve the problem, right? Very first step, easiest one of them all, just take your given and put it over 1. I'm going to switch to a new color. So we're doing purple now. So take my given and put it over 1, 24.3 grams. And I just put that over the number 1. No units needed here, just the number 1. And then I'm going to write out, for step 4, my conversion factor. I only have 1 arrow here in my map, which means I only need 1 set of parentheses for my 1 conversion factor. And this is going to equal some amount of moles, right? Because again, that's what I'm trying to find. I'm being asked how many moles of water are in 24.3 grams of water. So I'm starting with 24.3 grams of water. I'm going to set up my conversion factor in here, and I'm ultimately going to figure out how many moles of water that is. Okay? So now it's just a matter of setting up my conversion factor. And remember, we always do, always desired unit over given unit. Desired. You guys know that my handwriting is better than this, but I'm working with what I've got. Desired over given. That's how we always are going to use our conversion factors. Actually, I think this is the thing, this right here, that I said you guys should get tattooed on yourselves. If any of you actually came back to school in a couple weeks with a tattoo of desired over given on you, I would disown you. But we're going to use desired over given as our conversion factor. Sorry, I kind of drew on there. Okay, so this is my conversion factor. I just need to set it up in this format, desired over given. So every single equality statement like this, there's 2 different conversion factors you can make. I can either do 18.02 grams over 1 mole, or I can do the exact opposite of that, right? I can do 1 mole over 18.02 grams. And it's my job as a scientist, as a student, to figure out which one of these is going to fit my needs and which one of these is going to be my desired over given to help me actually do this problem, to do this conversion. So we need our desired unit over our given unit. Remember, our desired is moles, our given is grams. So we want the one that has moles on top and grams on the bottom. And to me, it seems pretty clear that that's going to end up being this one. So that's the one that we're going to plug in as our conversion factor to ultimately get from grams to moles. So I'm going to plug that in here. 1 mole over 18.02 grams. And I am ready to now solve. I'm on the very last step, and I can actually now solve the problem using my calculator. So remember, you start by typing in your given, in this case 24.3. You multiply by everything on top, and you divide by everything on the bottom. So I'm going to do times 1, 24.3 grams times 1 mole. And then I'm going to do divided by 1 because we have this over 1. And then I'm going to do divided by 18.02. Figure out what that equals. And it says it wants me to do 3 significant figures, which is, in this case, like 3 digits. So my answer is going to be 1.35, right? Because I'm rounding. So I have 1.3485. So I just rounded up and did 1.35 moles. Let's see if we got it. Looks like we did. There's a lot of math on my board now. Again, it's not a board. I don't know why I keep calling it that. But there is my ultimate answer, 1.35 moles. And it said that I did get that one right. So there's 3 more questions, it looks like, within this problem set. And again, this is like your introduction to stoichiometry. This is just step one, guys, and we're going to keep working on this for the next, I don't know, probably 6 weeks at this point. So we still have a lot of work to do with this, but this is step one. This is the foundational step. So try and work through these next 3 by yourself. If you have any other questions, remember you can send me a message on Instagram. You can text me. You can email me. You can give me a call, whatever it is, and I can help you out. Okay. Bye, guys.